right, it's a very hot August 15th, 2025. I'm out in Speonk on the east end of the Long Island Railroad, one of the diesel terminals. Gonna start our journey here and hopefully get an interesting afternoon and evening on the Montauk branch. Gonna take a reverse trip to Babylon. All right, at 2:14, the gates are going down here at Phillips Avenue in Speonk as train 93 comes in. This is one of those Suffolk County Commuter Council runs from Montauk. Fettuccine Alfredo is one of the crewmen on this train. Let's hear that beautiful music from that cab car. Silverliner 4s of the Long Island Railroad is what they really are. I think they stole those horns or made an arrangement with SEPTA to get them from some surplus scrapped Silverliner 4s. Taken back into the yard, and the same crew will be going out on another set of equipment that's in the yard. For train 99, it's a seasonal train to Babylon. Well, 38 from Babylon just arrived. He's heading into the yard also. 404. At 3:04, approaching is a hot shot. Train 12 from Hunters Point Avenue to Montauk, the old advanced Cannonball. And Joe is trying to get a good shot of him. I'll get him going by. He doesn't stop here, knocking down the signal at SK. He's got an approach medium. Lead unit on this is 414. That's a pretty decent K5LLA, one of the better ones. We have a slightly tardy 99 to Babylon. You had to wait for him to pass. He's getting ready to come out of the yard. Well, here comes 99 out of the yard. That's a loud horn. Reminds me of Silverliner 4 number 370. That was a very loud horn. gonna win any prizes for beauty, but return it to the yard for a little while, but first we got this deadhead from Speonk to Hicksville. It's going to be an additional train set for the Greenport Scoot. Yeah, Fettuccine Alfredo knows what kind of horns I like to listen to. 456 approaching fast westbound at 17. Montauk, Jamaica. Goes non-stop Speonk, Jamaica. It's about as fast as they go through this station. 166 is holding up the Cannonball. He's creeping behind this guy. Both trains are on time. He's heading into the yard now. Got to clear up quick, out of the way of the Cannonball. The culprit, I think, was 17. He was running late. Otherwise, 166 would have used track 2. All right, buddy, clear the track, clear the track. Well, here comes the Cannonball creeping along. He hasn't got a signal yet. Now Chris is back. He's filling Babylon with smoke. A little bit of an indignity for the Cannonball here. Now we are on train 40, a Babylon Speonk scoot, makes all stops to Speonk. And you're probably wondering, since I live so close to Babylon, why did I drive to Speonk and do a round trip from Speonk to Babylon and back? Well, I was anticipating this particular run and was hoping for the best. And I got more than I bargained for. The engineer on this train blew the 413's K5LLA horn like a champ. And he won the Retired Railfan Horn Guy Trophy of Excellence. He was fantastic. Just listen as we record the whole ride. And we are threading through Babylon interlocking as we approach the car wash rack on the secondary track, and right after that is the Babylon storage yard. That was Higby Lane, West Islip. I have taken numerous rides on scoot trains out of Babylon or Montauk trains out of Babylon that had locomotives with K5LLA horns, anticipating a good horn show, and more often than not, it was a dud. Disappointing. There were only maybe one or two other times where I really got a good performance, but I lucked out on this trip. And you will see a westbound position light signal here. I will try to point out all of the position light signals that you will see on this trip. They only really go as far as just about Patchogue, and then you get all color lights the rest of the way to Speonk. That was Windsor Avenue in Brightwaters. At Brentwood Road, you'll see another westbound position light. There it is. I love this spot. Trains are moving pretty fast through here with crossings nearby. I've gotten some great horn shows at that road crossing. Islip is another great spot to watch the trains on the Montauk branch. The station lies between several railroad crossings, and for trains that don't stop here, you get some really good horn activity. Montauk branch is the line I rail fan the most as it's close to my home, and it's the busiest diesel line on the Long Island Railroad. And on summer weekends, it's busy with capital letters.
Ticket. I need ID if you're planning to have our ticket. You need to have your ID ready. Are you a senior? You need to have your ID out. I'll come back to check your ID. I can only sell you a senior ticket with proper ID. So I need your ID. Please have it out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I see. You return.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Off again.
Well, I sometimes hang around at that crossing. First of all, I love the name of the crossing. And second of all, it's in the middle of a S-curve. It's a great place to stand if you're getting an eastbound coming around the curve after pulling out of Islip Station. And then he'll round a left-hand turn as he passes the crossing. It's getting a little harder to get westbounds running the curve there as they built a big relay box at the crossing. And you'll see another westbound position light there. They'll be around a few more years. The railroad plans to put Rule 261 in on this section of the double track where they can run either direction in either track. And once that's done, those position light signals will be a memory. You can hear that we thumped over some switches. Those are hand-controlled switches. And I believe they're going to build a brand new interlocking at that location once they do the 261 project. I like to hang around at this great river station sometimes. It's in a relatively quiet neighborhood, although it used to be a lot quieter when I was a kid. There was all woods around here and hardly any traffic at the grade crossing. But nowadays, it's a great spot for an express train. You'll see trains coming around the bend in the east and then blowing for the railroad crossing here. And just to the east is a position light signal that you can clearly see. And this is also an area where a lot of stray cats hang around the woods next to this apartment building. And shortly you'll see another westbound position light signal. This is one of my favorite parts of the Montauk branch. This is the Connecticut River Preserve. There's a lot of fishing that goes on. You'll see a couple of streams, and the railroad blows the horns for the bridges. There have been numerous fatalities of fishermen in this area. And shortly you'll see yet another westbound position light signal as we approach Oakdale. Oakdale Station is a favorite spot of mine. It's a nice little town. It's at the west end of a sweeping curve, and there's a railroad crossing of Oakdale Bohemia Road here. And westbounds that don't stop here around a sweeping curve and rush past here doing the limit. Put on a great horn show coming around that curve. And Oakdale is also dear to my heart because I attended Dowling College here when it was open. I graduated Dowling College with a Bachelor of Science in Aeronautics. The college is just standing derelict now. It's a sad sight to see. This road crossing is fairly straight across the tracks, but it didn't used to be. It used to go behind that relay box, and I don't know if you noticed a cement foundation. That's where the old crossbucks used to be. They stood in the center of the old Oakdale Bohemia Road crossing, and cars would go around the crossings. They would be right smack dab in the center of the road, and they would often get hit by vehicles. And here we go through a substantial wooded area, and before we get to the next railroad crossing of Locust Avenue, you'll see another westbound position light signal. Just west of that Locust Avenue crossing, there are signals facing east and west, and you can get some great shots of trains going past those position light signals. Parking here is kind of tight. There's not much shoulder room, and you got to be careful because south of the crossing, along the sidewalk, I've spotted a lot of poison ivy. Well, the train passing is 73, a scoot from Patchogue to Babylon. At Cherry Avenue on a cloudy day, you can get some really good shots of trains coming east down the straightaway here. It's a long straight stretch. Sayville is another great spot on the line. It's a really nice town, and the station lies between several grade crossings. And those Montauk Expresses blast through here, sounding that horn continuously. It's quite an impressive sight and sound. Well, shortly we'll be running out of double track as we approach Y interlocking, and you'll hear the engineer call out the signal at Y on the PA system. Well, with single iron pretty much the rest of the way to Speonk, I'll never understand why they didn't double track this sector between Y and Patchogue, as it's quite a busy piece of railroad. We're in Bayport, and there are several grade crossings here, and the trains are moving pretty good. And I've gotten some excellent horn shows, especially of eastbounds at the Bayport Avenue crossing. This overpass is where the old Blue Point station used to be. That's been gone for many years. And you just heard the engineer call out the distance signal to PD over the PA system. And this is the substantial community of Patchogue. This is the terminus for some of the scoot trains. The town itself is pretty lively. The downtown area along Main Street has got a lot of shops, restaurants, and even has a theater, an old-fashioned theater. It's improved quite a bit over the years, the village of Patchogue. It was once known as Long Island Shoppers Village. Rail fanning here is so-so. The platform is tight, not very long, and it was much better when PD Tower was standing here at the Ocean Avenue crossing. Right by the crossing there was a position light signal. There was the operator who would come down and hoop up train orders. The trains leaving town. I got a few videos of those years ago. And this area's East Patchogue will be paralleling Montauk Highway past a number of railroad crossings at high speed before we come to our next stop at Bellport. Man, that guy is playing that sweet music so good, I've got to change my shorts. To say nothing of all the foam that's all over the seats. The station at Bellport is nothing impressive. It's just a one-car platform. It's not really in the greatest area, although the village of Bellport to the south is beautiful and quite quaint. But I don't really spend a lot of time rail fanning the Montauk branch in this area. From here, the rest of the way to Speonk, we get some pretty good speed in between stations. There's quite a bit of distance between station stops. And we get to pass through the Wertheim Wildlife Refuge, which makes you feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere. And across the road there is Varney's Restaurant. I'm told it's a good seafood place. When I think of Varney, I think of Stuart Varney, Ugh. Well, here we enter the expanse of the Wertheim Wildlife Refuge. Wow, old Bardo Road, that engineer gave it a good crossing sequence, like it was the William Floyd Parkway instead of that little dinky road that there is no traffic on whatsoever. Well, at Smith Road, we leave the Wertheim Wildlife Refuge. This is a rather scenic area to rail fan the Montauk Ranch, although it's not quite as busy as west of Patchogue. Although on summer Fridays eastbound and summer Sundays westbound, this line is quite busy. The population here at Mastic-Shirley has really mushroomed in the last 30 or so years. As a child, I remember coming out here and it was mostly wooded areas. We used to get homemade honey here. My grandparents would go out here religiously and get some. This is just west of a siding called JJD, which used to be called MS. The initials JJD are the initials of a former Long Island Railroad president named James J. Dermody, who lives in this area. This is the only siding between Patchogue and Speonk, and it's used heavily. Well, we're thumping through the switches of the old MO Black Limit Station siding. This is the former site of the Santa Maria Station, which closed in the late 90s. A lot of people wish this station was back open again so they don't have to go to Mastic-Shirley. I love rail fanning in this area because of the numerous crossings and the high-speed track. Get some really good horn shows here. This DE30AC 413, in my opinion, has the best K5LLA horn of the DE30s. 423 is right behind it. 409 sounds kind of mushy. Now the DM30ACs, 504 is the champ there. That's about as good as the 413. 509 is right behind it, and 521, one of the bells is a little off. gives a certain engineer an earache when he blows it. Many rail fans say the 504 has the loudest K5LLA of all the engines that have them on the railroad. But the 413, that's, to me, pretty even with the 504. This is the community of East Mauritius. There used to be a station stop here, but it was closed in 1958. The station building still stands here. And we are slowing down here as we're going to enter an elongated S-curve. We'll make a slight turn to the left and then a very sharp turn to the right. And when we come out of that curve, we'll be at the location of PT Block Limit Station. That's where the old Eastport Manaville branch used to join up with the Montauk branch until that line was abandoned in the late 1940s. And here we enter that sharp right-hand curve. It's one of the sharpest curves on the railroad. This is the community of Eastport. There used to be a station here until 1958. Eastport was known as the duck capital of the world. There was a huge duck farm here, and there were many others around this part of the island. They slaughtered a lot of ducks for meat and eggs. They closed mainly due to environmental issues. And now we're down the straightaway. We're approaching our final stop at Speonk. Speonk has a railroad yard just to the east of it. Used to be a Y track there. In fact, I think it's still there. But as a kid, I remember going to Speonk Yard and seeing the diesel trains tie up whenever my grandparents and I would go out to John Duck's in Southampton to have dinner. We always had to make a mandatory stop at Speonk on the way home to look at the diesels. And Speonk is still there, and they still have diesels. It's been a fantastic ride from Babylon, and I wish to thank the engineer for doing a wonderful job blowing those pipes. The K5LLA horn is probably the most dynamic horn created in the 21st century. Not to take anything away from the RS5T, as that's considered the king of all air horns in the 20th century. But I would rank the K5LLAs right up there. And kudos to the engineer for blowing good grade crossing signals and warning the public of the train's presence. Safety first, last, and always. Now watch him head into the yard. That engineer won the Retired Railfan Horn Guy Trophy of Excellence. You know how many times I've ridden on trains with those horns and didn't hand out many trophies? Absolutely outstanding. Is 18 for Montauk right behind 40. That was 18 from Hunters Point Avenue to Montauk with a nice K5LA from 418. What an ending to a great day.